In the beginning of the movie, we see a woman lying unconscious on the concrete surface in somewhere. She is bleeding from her fingers and her shoes are full of her dried blood. Then we are shown some high waves crashing to the shore. The crash is making a scary noise that echoes through the place where the woman is lying. The sound rings in her ears and she slowly wakes up from her unconscious state. At first she sees only concrete and gets confused. When she moves her head another direction, she finds herself in the most scary place. She is on the edge of a curved structure that looks to be too high. Below that curve there is a darkness that leads to nothing. Her death is assured if she makes one wrong move and falls off the edge. Besides this, she finds her left leg is folded under her body and is unable to move it. When she sees the edge spot, she freaks out in fear. She tries to hold her body but the movement slide her further down. The slide makes her leg move upward, which hurts her too much. Her hands are also scraped because of the rough and hard surface. Her breath increases as she silently prays for herself even though the chances are nil. In the following scene, we see a full view of the structure she is trapped in and it seems to be a hydropower plant. She manages to get far from the edge but the slide wall behind her doesn't allow to escape. She starts cursing her situation while holding herself on concrete. Then a loud sound blows from the down. The noise startles her and makes the fall even more dreadful. She thinks and assumes the noise must be because of the wind. She tries to calm down but just then she hears more louder sound and gets scared. She looks at the sky in confusion and screams in pain. Later, everything goes silent and she is only hearing her rapid breathing. She thinks about the survival and concludes that staying still at the curve will eventually kill her. She also thinks that a little movement might kill her instant. But she decides to take the risk and move her hands to turn herself around. Unfortunately, the plan is failed as she slides down and stuck at the edge of the surface. She holds herself and tries to remain calm. She realizes that she has to give up on trying to move her leg. She finds that she can only escape if she pulls herself up in the same position. But she feels too tired and her hands are bleeding continuously after being scraped. She raises her hand and separates two fingers stuck together with thick blood. Following that, she dries off the blood in her jacket. She feels the process of drying is too painful. She blows on her wounds but her blows are weak because she's fearful of making the wrong moves that can push her down to the death. She tries to put her uninjured leg up with her bloody hands. She decides to rise her whole body and feels the extreme pain of motions. Luckily the plan works and she makes some movements worth of progress. She takes long breath to calm herself down. But her hands become numb because of the pain. She puts them up and blows to treat herself. Then she tries to make the similar move again. She keeps rising herself slowly. She starts to feel hallucinate and sees the blood soots on the curve down. But her body seems to be invisible in her eyes. She looks at her hand and back to the blood spot. Now she is far away from the edge and behind her is an upright wall. But she seems too weak to climb up. But she doesn't give up and tries to make her next move. Soon she meets with the consequences of her hastiness when she slides down a little. The fear makes her more hallucinated and looks below. She sees the spots of blood grow longer as she tries to move herself up. Suddenly she hears a loud noise and stops herself. While staring at the blood spots, she notices that two new have been added. She feels that now her only options are to wait for her end or make a move to escape. In her mind something tells her that if she continues with what she is doing she will surely escape from there. This makes her believe that her brain is falling to catch the severity of the situation. But the only problem is her will to survive can make her fall to the death. She bravely raises her hand and blows on it. She is ready to push herself once again. But unfortunately in a second she slides down a few centimeters. She doesn't want to lose the progress that she has made with much motivation. Her fear starts to grow with her hallucination. She looks at the spots third time and finds they have grown extensively. Suddenly a voice echoes in the background and she compares the noise to her death. She thinks the death is calling her from the down. By this time her hands are destroyed and she hardly has any skin left to be scraped. She feels the sky roars at her situation and mocks her. Soon it starts to rain heavily that troubles her more. She thinks the odds are working against her condition. The rain might end by killing her sooner or it might hurt her more by destroying her hopes to live. For the first few seconds she decides to accept her fate and enjoy the drops hitting her face. She feels comfort almost as if the curve is her home and she has been staying there since the beginning of life. But her decision doesn't last long when the water affects the surface and slides her down. She closes her eyes and clenches her teeth with the fire of survival. She lets out loud screams but it doesn't compare to the thundering of the clouds. Suddenly she remembers that she is wearing a chain necklace that might help her to hold the curve for longer. She forcefully covers it around her wrist. But her hand slides slowly even with the tight necklace. She decides to keep hold herself until she loses her strength. That was the all from the movie. The story makes people aware of the fear that they don't know they have while creating a terrifying atmosphere. It makes the audience to feel the horror and fear inside with the help of the character. Make sure you have subscribed and turn on all notifications, so you can watch more movies like this.